We are Kentucky, Tennessee, living here at the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. Today, we are visiting the home of legendary blues pioneer Sleepy John Estes. Sleepy John Adams Estes lived from 1899 through 1977. Come with us as we walk through his humble home. As with all of our museum videos, the script that we use is the plaques that the museum has on the walls and other places. We do not add nor do we take away from the wording of these plaques. All of these videos are made for education and entertainment purposes only. By the end of World War II, blues styles had begun to change to a more urbanized sound, and Sleepy John Estes' country blues seemed old-fashioned to younger listeners. All of his recordings until the 1960s were, quote, race records, unquote, designed to be marketed primarily to African American buyers. Sleepy John made many tours for his fans, beginning with a series of concerts at colleges and folk music clubs in 1962. Hammy Nixon almost always accompanied him, and sometimes they were joined by Yank Rochelle, who had settled in Indianapolis. Sleepy John and the Country Blues. Blues arose around 1900 as a new genre of folk music among African Americans in the rural South and those who were in the process of moving to urban and industrial locations throughout the nation. Since there was normally some expectation of remuneration by the performer, blues quickly entered the realm of popular music by 1910 through 1912, was appearing in public sheet music and being heard on professional stages. By 1920, African American blues singers were making commercial recordings. Blues introduced several radical and innovative qualities to American popular music, such as the frankness and realism and intense concentration on self in the lyrics, an asymmetric three-line verse form, an elevated role of the instrument as a, quote, second voice, unquote, flexible treatment of certain pitches known as, quote, blue notes, unquote, and an overall improvisatory and spontaneous approach to performance. Sleepy John Estes was one of many young rural African Americans attracted to this new music. He was of the first generation of singers who became blues specialists. He distinguished himself from most of the others by creating a highly personalized style and repertoire. He largely avoided solo mode of performance and sought out musical partners, presenting his blues in various formats, such as guitar, harmonica, guitar, piano, mandolin, and jug bands. Estes sang in a distinctive high-pitched voice, rich in emotion, one that has often been described as, quote, crying, unquote, the blues. Perhaps the most outstanding feature of his music is his large repertoire of topical songs about his personal experiences, acquaintances, and events, many of them set in his hometown of Brownsville, and painting a rich and varied picture of a southern town in the middle of decades of the 20th century. He sings of lady friends such as Martha Hardin and Little Laura, black businessmen such as auto mechanic Vassar Williams and undertaker Al Rawls, and white patrons such as Lawyer Clark and three generations of the Mann family. Other songs describe his perilous adventures on the road, Floating Bridge, and trains, Hobo Jungle Blues, and Special Agent Railroad Police Blues, and his blindness, Stone Blind. He could also sing about national and political events in songs such as Government Money, Working Man Blues, and He Stayed Away Too Long. The latter is about the assassination of President John Kennedy. Altogether, Sleepy John Estes is one of the most original and distinctive voices that the country blues tradition has ever known. Recording career highlights. Sleepy John Estes had several genuine hits over the course of his long recording career, with some of his songs achieving the status of blues standards that have continued to be covered by other artists in varying styles. His first recorded song from 1929, "The Girl I Love, She Got Long Curly Hair," is better known as Brownville Blues, and has been recorded in later versions by many artists who have never lived in Brownsville. His most enduring song, "Some Day Baby Blues," was recorded in 1935 and has been covered by Big Mako, Ray Charles, and Bob Dylan, among others. Other hits from 1930s and 1940s were "Drop Down Mama," "Airplane Blues," and "You Shouldn't Do That." His 1962 album, The Legend of Sleepy John Estes, was a critical success and marked his successful return to recording and performing after a gap of more than 20 years. Brownsville Blues, recorded the same year, was a remarkable collection of songs celebrating and commenting on various personalities and events associated with his hometown. It was followed in 1964 by "Broke and Hungry, Ragged and Dirty Too," by Estes with Yank Rochelle and Hammy Nixon as the quote, "Tennessee Jugbusters," unquote. Issued at the height of the revival and of interest in the jug bands, this was one of the very few albums in the genre by African American performers with a direct connection to the classical period of the 1920s and 1930s. Later, in the 1960s and 1970s, Estes recorded several albums in Europe and Japan and that highlighted his great international popularity. We at Kentucky, Tennessee Living would like to thank you for coming with us to the home of legendary blues pioneer Sleepy John Estes, John Adam Estes, 1899 through 1977. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice of when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click that bell for notifications. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we bring to you the history of the Appalachian Mountains.